Okay, it's been a little while since I've done like a get ready with me style video, sat down, applied makeup, tested out some new products. So I thought I would do a spring makeup look today, just something glowy, hydrated, really comfortable, pretty easy. I'm really into pink makeup right now. I think I just did, like the last time I did a video like this, a pink eyeshadow look. So I probably won't go pink on the eyes, but pink blush, pink lip products, I can't get enough of them. So I'm excited to just hang out and apply some makeup. I do want to say thank you to Dalba for sponsoring today's video. I actually purchased their white truffle first spray serum back in the winter because I saw so many people I follow talking about it and raving about it. And I have to say, it really is as good as everyone says. So I'll use that in just a second. I've been using it as a primer and a setting spray in the wintertime, and it works really well. But first, I'm actually going to go in with their white truffle waterfall essence sunscreen. Listen, skin prep does not have to be complicated. I feel like there's been a lot of discussion surrounding skin prep lately and whether or not it needs to have multiple steps, tons of products, be a long, complicated routine. And it really doesn't. My favorite way to prep my skin before makeup is with a hydrating, glowy, comfortable sunscreen. And I absolutely love the Waterfall Essence sunscreen from Dalba. It's broad spectrum SPF 50 plus, so of course you're protecting your skin, but at the same time, it just feels and looks so nice. I've talked so much about finding a sunscreen you like because it makes it so easy to want to apply it every single day. And finding one that looks good, feels good, and wears well under makeup is key because then you just effortlessly incorporate it into your routine. This formula in particular is super, super hydrating. So you can use it as a moisturizer and a sunscreen all in one. It's very, very lightweight. So it sinks into the skin really effortlessly. And it has this nice kind of essence, watery like texture. So it just feels really good on the skin. And like I said, it's not heavy or greasy like a lot of other sunscreens. So I like to make sure I go in with enough to obviously protect my skin, and I just blend it in. There's no white cast, no residue. It really is the perfect base for makeup because it leaves your skin feeling so smooth. You know, when I use a primer or I use a sunscreen or anything under my makeup, my main goal is like that smooth texture because personally, I do deal with a lot of texture on my skin. It really is the perfect makeup base because not only is it smoothing, it just leaves your skin with that nice, hydrated, dewy glow. It feels good, but again, it's not greasy, it's not heavy. So even if you have oily skin or combo skin like me, you will absolutely love this product either on its own or under makeup. Next, I'm going to go in with the Dalba White Truffle First Spray Serum. This is a 4-in-1 product, so you can use it a couple of different ways. Like I said, I started using this back in the winter and I love it as actual skin prep, but you can also use it to set your makeup. I just mixed mine up, so let me do a close-up shot and show you, but it actually has 2 different layers. So on top you have the oil and then on the bottom you have the serum. And when you mix it together, you get such a nice blend of the ingredients. There's Italian white truffle extract, it has vitamin E, niacinamide, just so many beneficial ingredients that work really well to lock in that hydration and give you that glowy, dewy finish. I use a lot of mattifying products in my makeup routine, so I like to kick things off with a nice hydrated base. And I like this because it is hydrating, but it doesn't leave your skin feeling greasy. So your skin isn't going to look oily, your makeup's not going to melt off after a few hours. This is also great as a setting spray, so I'll use it at the end of the video to set my makeup as well. You can use it to refresh your skin throughout the day. If you want to use it in your skincare routine, you can use it as a serum or a toner. Like I said, skin prep does not have to be complicated. It really doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out process. These 2 products work so well together to give you that dewy, glowy, hydrated effect, just like instant glass skin. So I absolutely understand why people rave about this brand, why these are bestsellers in Korea. I'm going to link them in the description box below. They're actually available on Amazon, and I do have a promo code for you so you can save some money when you try them out. I'm actually going to apply my favorite foundation that I've used a million times here on YouTube so you can see how it layers over my skin. I'm mainly using the shade 30 Neutral Sand, but I do mix in just a little bit of the shade Cool Nude. I don't have any sort of tan right now, so I feel like Neutral Sand works well for me the majority of the year, but during like early spring, it's a little bit dark. So I like to just kind of smooth it on with my finger and then take a brush and blend it in. By the way, just a hack, if you have dry skin or you're using more of a matte foundation and you want it to blend in a little bit easier, like this foundation for me blends out well, but it is a little bit of a thicker foundation, especially compared to what I've been using lately. You can actually just spray your brush directly and then use it to press the product into the skin, And I feel like it just allows the product to blend out really well and give you that extra added glow. I mean, you can do that with anything, whether you're applying your concealer, a liquid cheek product. I think it works really well if you have like a thicker, kind of stiff formula as far as cream bronzer or cream blush. This is still my favorite foundation of all time. It really is, but I haven't been using it as much in 2025. I've been using the e.l.f. Soft Glam a lot. That one's definitely thinner. It's a little bit more natural looking on the skin. Or honestly, I've just been using the Natasha Denona concealer and just, kind of spot concealing and blending that out everywhere. Oh, the Milani Skin Tint Stick. That's what it is. I knew I was missing another one. That's been my go-to as well. I'm not normally a skin tint person, but I've done a couple of videos using that. It's just so lightweight, so pretty on the skin. Okay, here's how the foundation looks on the skin. Very smooth, very glowy. This is not a glowy foundation. I've said in the past, it's pretty adaptable. So if you're using really matte products underneath, it does look more matte. But I like a glowy base underneath because I go in and set everything with powder, and then eventually that glow will come back through really nicely. I just took the lip balm off because I forgot I wanted to actually apply these on camera and use them. These are the new e.l.f. Glow Reviver Melting Lip Balms. So they come in 6 different shades. I actually paid for overnight shipping, and then they came like 4 or 5 days later. I was hoping to get up like a lip swatch video immediately, and at this point there are a ton of them up, but I'll still apply a couple of these throughout the video so you can see what they look like. These are really, really nice. They are sheer lip balms, but I mean, honestly, they have a good amount of pigment to them. I've tried a lot of lip balms at this point. I'm definitely a big lip balm fan. Let's use Yummy Gummy. These smell absolutely amazing. They're all a little bit different depending on which one you choose, but they all have, for the most part, like very fruity scents. They're definitely hydrating, very smooth on the lips, and they, in my opinion, are thinner than the e.l.f. What are those other ones called? I'm completely blanking on the name. The other lip balms they have, the Squeeze Me lip balms. These are thinner. They definitely have more of like that silky, buttery texture, whereas those are slightly thicker. They're not as shiny on the lips and they don't feel as smooth. This is the type of formula that I personally like a little bit better. They are more expensive than the Squeeze Me lip balms, but they do come with more product as well. And I mean, a lot of people are wondering if they are a good Summer Fridays dupe. They're very, very similar in my opinion. I think the ColourPop lip balms come a little bit closer to Summer Fridays, but there really isn't much of a difference between ColourPop, e.l.f., and Summer Fridays. Okay, so for concealer, I'm actually going to start with this product. It is the Revolution Beauty Skin Silk Under Eye Brightener and Concealer. I have the shade Light Peach. I just did a dupes video not too long ago, and I talked about this product. You can use this as an actual concealer, or you can use it to brighten up the under eyes before you go in with concealer. I've found the place that I like to apply it best is right here in the inner corner. I feel like I can deal with a little bit of darkness right here, or like when I blend eyeshadow, sometimes eyeshadow kind of falls in this area, and this just helps to keep things really bright, really light, and I feel like in the end, it kind of gives me more of like an awake, refreshed look. I love a good bright highlighter in the inner corner too, but this is more of a subtle way to create that effect. So sometimes I'll use this on its own as an actual concealer, especially if I am going for more of a light coverage look. But today I'm actually going to use this one from Versed. It's a newer product. It's their Skin Solution Serum Concealer. I have the shade 2N, which is just slightly light for me, but I wasn't sure if this ran really light or if it ran a little bit dark. I mean, I'm still not completely sure because I'm not sure what the next shade up would be, but they have it categorized by like undertones. So if you have a cool undertone, a neutral undertone, or a warm undertone, they break down the shades that way if you're buying online, which honestly is helpful because undertones can really make it or break it when it comes to complexion products. But I love this formula. I think I talked about this in a previous video. I purchased a couple of products from the new Versed makeup line, and I don't think I've talked about all of them, but this is such a gorgeous formula. It's very, like you saw in real time, it blends out so easily. It's really thin, so it does have more of that serum-like texture if that's the type of product that you typically go for. But what I love about this formula is it actually doesn't crease as easily as a lot of other serum-like textures. A lot of very thin formulas end up creasing on me so fast because I do have wrinkles under my eyes. And if you don't have incredibly smooth under eyes, you probably experience that too with pretty much any concealer out there. It's not the end of the world. You just kind of, blend it out and set it into place. But I noticed that with these thinner kind of serum-like textures or consistencies, even once you blend them out and set them, they still have a tendency to crease faster than something that's a little thicker. And this one actually lasts really well throughout the day. They do describe it as like a self-setting formula, which I don't know. A lot of self-setting products or products that are marketed that way aren't typically self-setting for me. Like I still like to actually set them. But I will say for such a hydrating feeling concealer, it lasts really, really well on the skin. So before I set that, I'm actually going to go in with cream bronzer. Where's the brush I want to use? I'll use this one. By the way, if you're ever curious about the brushes I'm using, because I do get some questions, I always list them in the description box along with all of the products I use too. And I try to list the actual shades just in case I don't mention them in the video. So this is the Too Faced Melting and Bronzing Sculpting Stick in the shade Milk Chocolate. I think I've used this in quite a few videos recently. It's not a brand new launch, but they recently came out with some new shades. And this is the newest. It's a new shade. They used to have a light shade, like a, what am I trying to say? This is the newest, lightest shade they have. And I actually really like this one because I have a tendency to go overboard with bronzer, and I feel like so many bronzers pull straight up orange on me. So I love that this one is a little bit more subtle. It gives you like a nice, it really is like the perfect in between a bronzer and a contour. You could use it as an actual contour, but I typically use it as a bronzer just to add a little bit of color back to my skin. And it does that in a subtle way without being over the top. It's so pretty. And it's so incredibly creamy. And it has a nice chocolate scent, which honestly, I love. I know scented makeup is not for everyone. And if you do not like scented makeup products, you're probably going to want to skip over it because it is chocolatey smelling, but it smells so, so good. You can't smell it like once you set it and then throughout the day. It's just as you're applying it. Actually, one more thing before I go in with powder. I got these little mini blushes from Huda Beauty during the Sephora Spring Savings event. So they actually have a kit right now where you can get 2 mini blushes, and then there are 2 different variations. I picked up the lighter kit. So it comes with cotton candy and then also peach sorbet. I just wore cotton candy yesterday, and that was the first time I tried this formula. It is gorgeous. First of all, there's enough product on this tiny applicator for both cheeks. Like you'll see in just a second, because at first I was like, those are so tiny, and they do come with a small amount of product in them, but it's the type of blush where you just don't need a lot of it. I mean, depending on what you go for. I like a little bit more of a subtle look, so maybe you will end up needing more as you blend it out. You might be like, no, that's not enough for me, but this blush looks so pretty on the skin. I tried this out yesterday for the first time, and the reason I picked this set up is because so many of you were like, no, that is my absolute favorite blush formula. I just knocked my microphone over. I'm just going to go over the edges with my foundation brush just so it looks a little bit more seamless. I do like more of a subtle blush, and I know there are deeper shades, so I'm pretty sure Cotton Candy is like one of the lightest shades, but I love how it looks on the skin because it gives your skin just like a touch of color. It has like a nice, smooth satin finish. Maybe not satin. It leans a little bit more glowy, but it's not as glowy as like the Say liquid blush. I've been talking about that one a little bit lately too. That's been my go-to, but that one is incredibly glowy. And sometimes I don't want something quite so glowy on my skin. Like look how fast that blended out. Again, no cuts. Like that is so quick, so easy to work with, and it just looks amazing on the skin. Like you can see the glow underneath. That's from the way I prep my skin with the sunscreen and the First Spray serum, but also this blush. It just looks smooth and gorgeous, so beautiful. So I understand why so many of you were like, you should try it. Like that is the best blush formula I've used in a long time. And it's not a brand new launch, but I feel like I hadn't heard about it until just a couple months ago when they ended up launching, or maybe even just a couple of weeks ago when they ended up launching additional shades. And then they ended up doing those little mini kits, and I thought it would be a good chance to try it out. I don't need a lot of new full-size blushes, especially liquid blushes, just because they take forever to go through. And I like the idea of having 2 different mini shades, although they're pretty tiny. So I feel like if I actually love this formula, I'll probably end up going through them kind of fast. But I mean, maybe not, because like I said, liquid blush just takes forever to go through, but it's so, so pretty on the skin. I haven't tried layering it over powder yet. I usually wear it under powder. Some products don't layer as well over powder, which I will try it that way too. I might end up adding a little bit more just because I went in with kind of a lot of powder, but I feel like I've needed to during the spring. Like I said, my skin is combo, and I do like to start off with more of a hydrated, glowy base because I always make sure to use sunscreen, and it just allows the products to go on better. But sometimes if I'm layering a lot of powder on my skin, I'll either just add like a touch more blush on top, whether it is the liquid or a powder, after I do my makeup if I feel like I need that extra color. Anyway, this is just the Huda Beauty powder and I have the shade Cupcake. And I'm just using this to really set the center of my face where I tend to get a little bit oily. I don't like to pack the powder on the rest of my face. I usually just use like a fluffy brush and take a small amount and really like buff it into the brush and then just lightly set the rest. And then, like I said, I'll use that Dalba spray at the end to add that glow back on. Okay, I just did my brows. I pretty much always use the same products, the NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel in Espresso, and then the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen, also in Espresso. So I'm going to apply another one of the e.l.f. Glow Reviver Melting Lip Balms. Again, I'll just try to swatch as many as possible in today's video. This one is in Blackberry Sorbet. It smells so good. I think the biggest difference between these and Summer Fridays is these seem to have a lot more pigment. Again, they're still very, very sheer, but most of Summer Fridays lip balms are much lighter than this. So if you prefer a little bit of color, then you might actually prefer the e.l.f. formula overall. I think there are maybe like two very soft, light sheer shades, but for the most part, they look a little bit more intense on me. Okay, the eyes we're going to keep pretty simple. I'm just going to start with the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3, which is just the fully matte palette. And I'm going to use like a new product from Too Faced all over the lid that's very sparkly. So I think I'll just take this shade in the crease. Wait, which shade did I point to? I'm going to start with this shade as a transition and then this shade in the crease. I'm sure there are some of you that are getting very tired of hearing about my right eyelid, but I just like to say this in case you're new to my videos. My right eyelid is always dry. I did try a couple of things that are working to help it, which I appreciate your suggestions in a recent video. Thank you so much because it is doing much better than it was. But if anything looks patchy, it's most likely due to my actual dry eyelid and not the product itself. That's it for the transition shade, nothing too intense. And then I'm going to take this shade in the crease just to build a base before I go in with the Too Faced shadow. So I tried these new shadows from Too Faced. These are the Quickie Cream Eyeshadow Sticks. I have a couple of shades, so I'll swatch them for you in just a second, but they are gorgeous. Like I said, I did a dupes video recently, and at first I was like, maybe the Milani Gilded Eyeshadow Sticks are a good alternative or dupe for these new Too Faced ones. The Milani ones are my favorite, like drugstore or high-end. I've been talking about those a lot over probably like the last year or two because they're very easy to work with, and I like those because they have a metallic finish. So they just look so pretty all over the lid. You can use them as like a true one and done shadow and just place them all over the lid and blend them into the crease. Or you can do what I'm doing today and start off with some matte shadows and then just use them all over the lid or use them as liner. Anyway, I started testing out the Too Faced shadows and they're different. They are so gorgeous on the eyes. Again, I'm going to go in with one on the lid in just a second. Let me swatch them for you so you can see what they look like. They are glittery, they're intense, they're so sparkly. They almost give a similar effect. What's that product from KVD that I love? The Dazzle Sticks. If you've tried those, that's what the Too Faced shadows kind of look like, but they're in stick form. These are just very easy to apply, and that's why I'm a fan of cream eyeshadow sticks. If you're in a hurry, you don't always have the time to sit there and blend eyeshadow. Even if you're only taking like 2 shades like I am today, it still takes a little while. I'm just going to take a little bit of that lighter shade on the lower lash line. So anyway, that's why I like a good cream shadow because they're so quick. Like they just blend out in 2 seconds. You can just apply them directly to the eyes, take your finger or a brush and blend out the edges and you have a complete look. And I haven't really tried anything quite as sparkly as the Too Faced formula. It really, really is gorgeous. So I wanted to use one in today's video. I think I'm going to use the shade Fairy Dust. This is pretty because, yeah, look how intense and sparkly it is. It is so gorgeous. I can't get over these. I really thought they were just going to be like every other cream eyeshadow stick on the market, and they're not. They're much more intense. So if you want like that glittery, super sparkly effect, this is a great formula to go with. Very smooth, but also, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say, yeah, like they're smooth and creamy, but they dry down and they stay in place pretty well. They're not as long lasting as the Milani one for me, but I don't end up with any creasing or fading. It's just those Milani ones, like if you're using them on the lower lash line or the waterline, they do not move. Whereas if you're using this on the waterline, it will fade a little bit by the end of the day, but no issues with wear time on the actual eyelid. And then I'm just going to take my crease brush and just very lightly blend out the edges so it doesn't look so harsh. But it's so fast, so easy, and I'm just impressed by this formula, honestly. I just, if I'm being honest, I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but I do really, really like it, and I find the quality to be so good. So if you like eyeshadow crayons and you're looking for more of an intense, sparkly finish, I think you'll like these. My only complaint, like honestly, the only issue I have with these is there is no way to tell what the color is from the outside other than the name. Like there's no sticker on the bottom, there's no indication. So they all look the exact same, which is kind of frustrating if you're just picking one up and hoping, you know, it's the right shade. I mean, as I use them more, I'm sure I'll know based on the name which one is which. But right just like in the very initial few times of using it, I've been so frustrated because I have to like pop them all open to see what they look like. For liner, I'm actually just going to take this brown shadow from the Patrick Ta palette on a Sigma eyeliner brush and use that to line my eyes. It's a little bit softer than like a full-on liquid liner or even one of these creams. And then I'm just going to tight line with a black liner just to make the base of my lashes look a little bit more dramatic. Okay, so I recently started curling my lashes. I know I told you that I have an irrational fear, and I still don't love to do it, if I'm being completely honest, but I started doing it just on a whim. I was like, I need to try this out because some of you were like, no, it makes such a difference. And I do think it makes a difference. I'm still kind of scared to do it. I probably shouldn't be talking and doing it at the same time. You can't really tell a difference before I apply mascara because my lashes are just not really there. But when I apply mascara, I do think it makes a difference. So I've been enjoying it. Not only am I scared that I'm going to pull my lashes out, I'm also scared that I'm going to pinch my eyelid. So I feel like maybe I'm not doing it as intensely as I could, but it's a start. I'm just using a tried and true favorite, the Tower 28 Make Waves Mascara. This is not new, but I'm going to apply this to my lashes and then I will see where I'm at. I need to do cheeks, lips, and then I'm pretty much done. Okay, I applied the mascara, but I also took a little bit of the NYX Vivid Rich Mechanical Liner in the shade Quartz Queen on my waterline just to brighten things up a little bit. It is bright, and some people don't love that stark waterline look, which I definitely understand, but in person, it has like a hint of pink to it. So I just think it's really flattering with a little bit of like a pinky toned lid color, which now that I'm looking at it, it is pinky, but it's kind of champagne. It's just really pretty. So in the inner corner, I'm just taking a little bit of this shade. This one is called Twinkle, which is kind of like a pearly white. And that's just going to add like a nice pop right in the inner corner. I'm just going to lightly blend that out just a little bit. Okay, so I am going to apply some powder bronzer. This is somewhat new, but it doesn't look like it because I have used this so much. It is the LA Girl On Cloud 9 Bronzer and Blush Duo in Misty Mauve. And this is my favorite brush to use with it, the BK Beauty 111. So this is such a gorgeous formula. It's basically like a creamed powder, more so like a creamy powder. And I feel like it just kind of smooths over the skin, adds a little bit more color, which, you know, like I said, sometimes I start off with a cream bronzer and then I usually go over with a powder just to add a little extra in the end after I do all of my makeup. And this one's not too intense. It just adds a little more color back in. I mean, you could totally skip the cream bronzer underneath if that's what you want to do too. When I'm in a hurry, I might skip creams and just use this, but it looks so good on the skin. I am going to take a little bit more of that Huda Beauty blush and just lightly go over on top because I feel like I lost a lot of the color when I set it. Yeah, that's actually applying really well on top of powder. Sometimes you just don't know with liquid blushes because they don't always apply nicely on top of powder. But I feel like in general, if you use like a very light hand, it's fine. And this has like that silky smooth texture. Yeah, that's a really, really gorgeous formula. I'm so glad I bought those minis. It looks so nice on the skin. And then for highlighter, I cannot get enough of this formula. It is so beautiful. This is a new launch from Catrice. It is their Pearlfection highlighter, and this one's in the shade Shell Yeah. I talked about this in my dupes video. It's not an exact dupe for the Rare Beauty, what are those called? Positive Light Silky Touch highlighters, but it's a good alternative. It's almost a little bit creamier, so I don't love to fully like swipe this on because I feel like it can disturb the makeup underneath It's not the same like silky smooth texture as that Rare Beauty formula. It has like this thicker, creamy feel to it, but it looks so good on the skin. Like it definitely adds a nice glow. It's just so pretty. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this on my nose too. Let's finish up with the lips. If you have any recommendations for like a nice, light, kind of baby pink lip liner, please let me know because I feel like this is actually one of the lightest shades I currently have, and I could use a couple of very light lip liners. I'm really into like milky pinky glosses right now, and I feel like a lot of the lip liners I own are just a little bit dark for those, but this is the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Cool BFF. I definitely like to go in some, I want to go in with something, I guess I should say, a little bit cooler today because I feel like sometimes very warm lip liners can kind of change the milky pink color to more of a peach, and I do want it to really look pink on the lips. Actually, I'm just going to take a little bit of concealer and go over the lip liner just to lighten it up a little bit. My favorite lip gloss line is the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Glosses. I have a bunch of these, and they just came out with 3 new shades that are all kind of strawberry. I think they're all strawberry scented, and they fall in like the strawberry color family. I want everything strawberry this spring. A few years ago, it was like everything watermelon scented was my favorite, and I tried a couple of strawberry lip balms from, oh yes, this color is Strawberry Milkshake. This is actually perfect with this lip liner. Let me blend it in because I won't get the full effect till it's actually blended in. That actually looks just a little bit streaky. I feel like I need to exfoliate my lips. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit of the shade Strawberry Shortcake on top. That would probably work well, but I think I need maybe like an actual lipstick underneath just to give it more of a base. That looks a little bit better. I love the lighter shade, but I think I need like an actual base underneath it because it is more sheer. It ends up just looking a little streaky, and honestly, my lips are kind of dry. The e.l.f. lip balms are moisturizing, but they're not like deeply nourishing in the way the Ulla Henriksen ones are. They definitely fall more in line with like the Summer Fridays formula if you've tried that. I only tried 2 of them on. You know what? I'll film a YouTube short swatching all of them, and I'll get that video up probably before this one, so I'll link it below. Okay, last thing before I wrap up my thoughts, I'm just going to set my makeup with the Dalba White Truffle First Spray Serum. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a second, and then let me wrap up my thoughts, and I'll be back to share some final thoughts with you. So this is how the makeup turned out. I actually really like the softer baby pink. I think when I sat down to film today's video, I thought I was going to end up with like a brighter pink makeup look, which don't get me wrong, I love dramatic pink makeup, but I kind of like the softer look for spring because it's like a touch of color without being too over the top. The blush is gorgeous. I'm so glad I tried that. Thank you to those of you that recommended it to me. I'm sorry I didn't get to more e.l.f. lip swatches, but again, I'll do a short video and that will already be up on my channel so you can see what these look like. But I do really like this formula. I think it's a great option if you like a light, easy lip balm, especially one that has a little bit more pigment than other brands out there. The Too Faced eyeshadow sticks are gorgeous. Highly recommend them. The Lawless lip glosses, they're definitely more sheer than I initially thought. I feel like they will pair best with more of an opaque lip product underneath, but they're nice if you want something a little bit lighter. A lot of the shades they have are kind of, a lot of the pink shades they have are brighter. I love Juicy Watermelon when I want more of an intense color, but I think the lighter Strawberry collection is nice if you want something more subtle. It just, I don't know that they wear the best on their own because they're so sheer. I absolutely love the Catrice highlight. I like how my skin looks. It's glowy, like you can see it. It's smooth. These products from Dalba are so, so good. So thanks again to Dalba for sponsoring today's video. Again, I'll link these products and everything I used in the description box below so you can check them out. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you soon with a new one. Bye.